Hey, what's going on, YouTube? This is Dr. BJ Roca with the Chiro Union podcast in Chiro Union. Today is our 10th episode, believe it or not, and I want to do something a little special. I want to try out the live cast, and also I'm going to record this for the podcast as well. So if we're going to do any editing, take out any dead spaces, any silence, any of the ums or uhs that get left in there. But I want to talk about the guru in chiropractic continuing education. It's a real serious problem. We just saw the California State Association actually move their annual convention in order to stop competing with a seminar that's run by a bunch of con artists and gurus that do nothing but take from our profession. The continuing education system really is meant to and is intended to actually support our state associations and our colleges, universities, and other institutions in the profession to provide legitimate continuing education for doctors of chiropractic, to disseminate information to doctors of chiropractic, important information. And unfortunately, the unorganized nature of the chiropractic profession has allowed companies like Chiro Sushi and others to exploit our continuing education system. So the one I wanted to talk about first, and that one I have pulled up on the computer, is Dr. Paul Reed. Now, Dr. Paul Reed, he is a member of the Washington State Chiropractic Association. And the Washington State Chiropractic Association, and even Paul Reed himself, will very quickly point out how little money they have. And they will very quickly point to you as being the problem. If you're not a member, if you're not financially supporting them, they'll say that you're the cause of the problem, you're why they don't have any money. When in reality, it's because Paul Reed is raping the Washington State Chiropractic Association because he started ChiroFest, and he has ChiroFest. He undercuts the cost of the Washington State Chiropractic Association annual convention by a significant amount of money. It makes it considerably cheaper to attend his seminar in September rather than the Washington State Chiropractic Association convention, which is in October, just ahead of time. Also, if you attend a Washington State Chiropractic Association event, they likely are going to want to ensure that you actually attend the event, that you actually go to class. You might have to sign in, sign out. You might have to have a badge scanned or something of that nature. The instructor is going to provide quality content that meets the standard of the state. Paul Reed and his convention, they validate the hours as soon as you show up. Now, I can't comment on Chiro Sushi. I've never wasted any of my money. It's pretty obvious that everything to do with Chiro Sushi and their nonsense is a complete scam. I had no idea that Paul Reed was a scam. I spoke with him before I attended his event and spent a considerable amount of time trying to learn a little bit about him and let him know what I was doing and what I would be doing while I was there to make sure that there wasn't any confrontation. I didn't want to upset anybody. And he had no problem with me doing what I was doing, which wasn't much, but I wasn't paying to be a vendor. I was just attending as a chiropractor, trying to knock out some continuing education credits. But obviously, if anybody was there and anybody wanted to discuss Chiro Union, or if I could find anybody willing to listen to me talk about Chiro Union, then obviously I'd be willing. That's another goal that I would have in attending his event. But as soon as you get to ChiroFest, at least the last one that I attended, the last one that they held, they immediately validate your hours. So if you're lazy and you really don't want to do continuing education and you just want to take part in a scam, you can show up at ChiroFest, fill out your registration, and then immediately validate your hours, and you're done. Nobody's going to check you in and out of any room. Nobody's scanning anything. There's no attendance that you need to worry about. There's no test or anything that you'll need to do beyond simply paying the fee to validate your hours. As soon as you get there, your hours are validated. There's another problem with that, because when you go to the ChiroFest website, or if you respond to any of the spam that they send out on a near constant basis in regards to ChiroFest to get people to attend this scam of an event, they'll show, like right now they're saying that it costs $175 for a doctor of chiropractic in order to attend the ChiroFest event. It's just simply not true. Now, that is one thing that I appreciate over this year compared to last. They didn't offer the lowest price until the few days just prior to the event. So instead of an event which would typically raise the rate once you got to a certain, a week ahead of time or 2 weeks ahead of time, then the cost of attendance would go up. Not ChiroFest, they kept dropping the price. It kept going down the closer you got to the event. So those that planned ahead, they actually wound up paying more than people that just showed up and paid at the door. Opposite of what you might normally expect. But right now they seem to be starting at the low price, which is $175. So for that, what they're claiming is a seminar that costs $175, and it's a 3-day event. So you would think that you're getting a massive amount of continuing education for this $175. I've spent as much as $450 or $500 on day-and-a-half events for events that have half as much content, half as much continuing education to offer, would cost 3 times as much. So he's undercutting everybody in the marketplace. He's trying to offer it as cheap as possible. But that price changes. It goes up and down. There's coupon codes, and there'll be different promotions that they'll run. Some of them will be more, some of them will be less, but the price will always go up and down. Who knows if it'll actually be less than $175. But the cost of attending the Washington State Chiropractic Association annual convention just a few weeks later is $395. So are you going to spend the $175 to attend ChiroFest, or are you going to spend the $400 to attend the Washington State Chiropractic Association annual convention? He's obviously undercutting it. The problem is Paul Reed is on the board for the Washington State Chiropractic Association. Tell me that's not a conflict of interest. When a major or significant revenue stream for the Washington State Chiropractic Association is continuing education that they offer at $395. Here is a member of the board that then turns around and offers chiropractic continuing education immediately preceding the Washington State Convention, undercuts their price dramatically, and also has a number of exhibitors and vendors. Those are the same revenue streams that our state association depends on. So again, he undercuts the advertising, he undercuts the vendor or the booth space, and he makes it cheaper for the vendor to support him, which just puts money in his pocket, rather than supporting the association, the Washington State Chiropractic Association, which is apparently he's taken an oath in order to support. So there's a real obvious conflict of interest there that he seems to be exploiting, because all of this puts money in his pocket, puts no money in the pockets of the Washington State Chiropractic Association. If anything, it takes money from the Washington State Chiropractic Association. It ensures that they do not have the resources they would otherwise have. And if you go on their website, they have changed a number of things from last year to this year, and he's got so many different things going on here. So for instance, last year they only allowed people to speak for 15 minutes. And they also, last year, made some type of offer, meaning if you went to their website, if they sent you an email, that you would know how they would say that they're offering X number of hours of continuing education credits, and that you could sign up and you could pay for, or you could attend the seminar and you would get so many hours of continuing education credits would be available to you, or your hours would be validated. But that's simply, now they're not making that case, because the way they hold their seminar, they only allow, for the first 2 days, Friday and Saturday, they only allow people to speak for 15 minutes. Now this year they changed it to 30 minutes. They expanded the speaking slot for the doctor of chiropractic or whoever the vendor or person on stage speaking is, and they've expanded it from 15-minute sections to 30-minute sections. But still, in the first section of the seminar, from the opening ceremony, from the opening speech to the first break, there's 4 different speakers. It's kind of hard to deliver quality educational content when you're given such a brief amount of time in order to deliver that content. Last year it was impossible to even get a feel for what some of these people were trying to present, because they only had a 15-minute time slot, and in that 15-minute time slot you had to do an introduction, you had to do your thank yous, you had to do your hoorah, hoorah jump up, get excited, loud music and all that, and get people up on stage, get people off stage, load presentations on the computer. All those things had to transpire in that one single 15 minutes. So it gave you a very limited amount of time, maybe 7 or 8 minutes, maybe 10 minutes of actual content delivery. And that was supposed to be the class. So an entire day, you might get 80 minutes of actual content delivery with all the hoorah and clap your hands and get up and yell and all the nonsense that they do in between the speakers, wasting time essentially. So it was impossible to get any meaningful content. And the truth of the matter is, in Washington and Oregon, it's not the responsibility of the continuing education provider in order to ensure that they meet the state standard. It's the chiropractor's responsibility to ensure that the continuing education they submit meets the state standard. So you're attesting to the quality of the continuing education seminar by submitting it to the state for continuing education. In case you're ever audited or anything ever comes up, you are certifying that you believe this class meets the state requirements for continuing education by counting it essentially as continuing education. So now they don't do that anymore. Now they know that this is all completely bogus bullshit. So they just say it takes 3 days. It's a 3-day event. It's the largest event. It's an epic event. But they stop making any claim as to how many hours of continuing education you can actually earn, because it's only about 4 hours of continuing education, which is the radiology class on the last day. That's the only actual content that qualifies for continuing education for your $175 or whatever floating fee that you wind up being charged to attend the event in Vancouver, Washington. And they are very proud of the fact that they've been able to grow to the largest event in the Pacific Northwest because they've dethroned the Washington State Chiropractic Association. They've taken all that revenue from the Washington State Chiropractic Association and they've put it into the pockets of Paul Reed. So we're instead, rather than building our association, rather than building our ability to advocate for doctors of chiropractic, you are building the personal wealth of an individual person. And this individual person doesn't have any particular interest in protecting doctors of chiropractic, advocating for doctors of chiropractic. They're strictly interested in exploiting doctors of chiropractic. One, the situation that they put the doctor of chiropractic in with this seminar, it is not legitimate continuing education. The only person that's liable for that fact is the doctor of chiropractic. You'll go to this event, you validate your hours, you think that you've met the standard. No, you haven't. If you attended the radiology class, you have a few hours in continuing education. The rest of it was just a pure waste of time. It was just sitting there listening to somebody run their pitch on why you should give them money. Even the $175 is a scam, because once you get there, you have to pay a fee to validate your hours. So you say, oh, it's $175, I'm getting such a great deal. Yeah, until you register, you get your badge, and they immediately tell you, if you would like credit for attending this event, you're going to have to get in that line right next to me and validate your hours, which will cost another $100. So you can either pay the additional $100 to validate your hours for an event that you're already at, but why not just include that? If this is a continuing education event, why not just include the cost of validating the hours, especially if it's so much? It's a considerable fee in order to validate your hours. But why not include that? Because it's a bait and switch, and that's what he likes to do. He likes to scam people. He likes to bait and switch people, and that's exactly what he's doing. He's scamming the Washington State Chiropractic Association. He's on the board. He participates in when the annual convention is. He participates in making decisions on when they hold the annual convention, on how much they charge for the annual convention, how much they charge vendors for the annual convention. He participates in those discussions. He participates in making those decisions. At the same time, it's in his best interest to ensure, regardless of what date they hold the Washington State Annual Convention, he holds his just a couple weeks sooner. Regardless of what price they charge for the convention, he just charges a bit less. Right? He just exploits his position, because that's what he does. He's a scam exploiting people. And even on his website, you can buy these videos. He's got 16 different ways he's trying to profit off of the same content here. You got Life Vision, which has got life. This is another seminar, another thing that he's going through. There's very little information available. I'm not even sure if it's actually active. It appears that it's probably a video thing, that they're selling videos, which is what he does on a regular basis. They've also got this Life Talk thing, which is more videos. Life Talk, Life Vision. Yeah, these are all somehow related. He repeats that life. But, of course, he's not representing life. And he uses the life font, and he spells life the way, with all capitals, makes it look like the life, as in Life University from Life Chiropractic. But, of course, it has nothing to do with Life University. He's just running another scam in order to exploit somebody else. Let's check it out. Oh, maybe it has something to do with Life University, because here it says it's a member of the Cobb County Chamber of Commerce, which is where Life University is. I don't know why he has another website that's dedicated just to him. It's completely different. It's confusing. But when you're running a scam, things get really confusing. So now now on ChiroFest, they just completely stop mentioning how many hours are even available. It's up to you to determine how many hours you earn by attending, or how many hours they validate. So that was another interesting question I had raised with the state association and with the state board. So, well, what if they validate the hours? If I pay them to validate the hours and they told me that they validated 20 hours, do I not have 20 hours in continuing education? I said, no. You still have to, if you get audited or if there's something that comes up in regards to those hours, you're still going to have to demonstrate that those are 20 actual hours, meaning what did you do in those 20 hours? And if you tell them you sat in a room at the Hilton and you listen to some guru go on about some nonsense, you might get a little bit of philosophy credit, but it was only, you'd have to listen to 2 of those gurus or 4 of those gurus, depending on their time slot, in order to get 1 credit for continuing education. So half of your day would have to be spent 4 different people in order to get 1 credit for continuing education. That's why it's much safer and it's much better to attend a legitimate event at a college or university where they do make sure and ensure that they meet the quality standards of the state association, to ensure that the doctor of chiropractic is not put in a difficult situation where they could be sanctioned or potentially have fines or any other type of negative consequence from not meeting their requirements as a doctor of chiropractic for continuing education. Because the state association is aware of what the requirements are, and they want to put the doctor of chiropractic in a place to succeed, not in a place to be harmed, which is, of course, what Dr. Reed is benevolent to. He doesn't care if he's causing harm. The only thing he cares about is putting money in his pocket. One of the things one other great example of that, when attending ChiroFest last year, they had 2 different rooms. They had a vendor room and they had a speaker room. They forced you to kind of Mickey Mouse through the vendor room in order to get into the speaker room. But there was no printed material available. It's the first class I've ever attended in which I was not handed a program. I wasn't handed some sort of flyer or something describing what was going to occur, when it was going to occur, who was going to speak when, nothing. I received absolutely nothing. Instead, you're on the back of your badge. The only thing you get is a badge. And on the back of that, it tells you to download this app. But you're inside the Hilton, inside downtown. There's no Wi-Fi. Your phone doesn't work. The hotel has Wi-Fi that's available, but you have to pay $15 per person per day to access the Wi-Fi. So I go to the concierge desk and I say, look, I'm attending this seminar. They've got some app thing in order for me to know what's going on when. I have to download this app. And they said, well, you can use the Wi-Fi here in the lobby. It's free. But if you want to use Wi-Fi in that room over there, it's $15 per day per person. I said, well, just out of curiosity, isn't that possible to turn on Wi-Fi for the entire room and give the entire room internet? Oh, yeah, for sure. We do that all the time for our conventions. Why aren't you doing it for this convention? They didn't pay for it. How much does it cost? About $350 for the entire seminar, which was about I think it was $112 per day or something like that. And it would paid for internet for the entire seminar. Based upon the number of vendors, based upon the number of attendees, even at $175 each, and without taking into consideration any money that was paid for validation, without taking into consideration any money that was paid by any sponsors for anything other than their booth space, they easily collected over $100,000 from Doctors of Chiropractic and for vendors. But they couldn't spend $300 to provide Wi-Fi so that you could download the app that they demanded you have so that you knew what was going on. This is how it's being run. It's a complete scam. It's a con. It's the same thing that Chiro, and you've got, what is this other one now that Chiro Sushi's putting on? I've never attended any of their events. To me, it's pretty obvious that they're a complete scam. It's run by people that, there's some doctors involved. There's some people that are not involved. And then, again, there's an actual Chiro summit. So they just exploit, just like their samurai exploits Chiro Ninja. A lot of things they do take language from actual chiropractors. They take content from people that actually took the time, had an original thought, and developed important content for the profession. They steal that content and they garble it up a little bit. They sand it over. They spit polish it. And then they put it up as their own, like they somehow created this. But meanwhile, it's just a game they're playing on Facebook. But they're at every turn, because even the name of their deal, the name of their event is a ripoff of an actual chiropractic event. There it is. Now again, they held this at a very similar time, taking money away from the Washington State Chiropractic Association. See if they're willing to tell you how much tickets are. No contract, no BS. The whole thing is BS. If somebody is going out of their way on their website to immediately tell you that they're not full of shit, that's a very clear indication that they are completely full of shit. Access to over 35 mentors and private VIP Facebook group. Your private VIP Facebook group is nothing. Anybody can join up. It's not, I don't know what makes it private. And it's basically just a swimming pool filled with sharks. So if you want to get into the swimming pool and be surrounded by sharks and have people constantly berating you, targeting you, and trying to take from you, then yeah, great, wonderful. So you have to join the Chiro. So if you join up for some other nonsense, you get free tickets. So they're promoting some other nonsense, which I believe is a subscription-based scam, in which the goal is to essentially hope that you forget that you signed up and then just continue to take your money for free, without providing anything. But Schultz trying to find out how much optional deposit upon arrival. Why would you need to have? Maybe it's just students. It appears that maybe students get their money back. DC ticket, $300. Staff and family, $100. So it's $300 to attend this event, which is actually surprising. But I think that they're trying to encourage you to sign up for that's a bait and switch. It's a scam. It's what they always do. Is they pump up their price, but then sign up for this over here, and then you get this for free. Oh, and look at the list. These are the masters. Liam Schibel, complete scam. Everything about that guy is a complete scam. Sean Dill is just his right-hand man of running a scam. Tristan Schwab, entrepreneurship. He's not educated in anything. He's never done anything. He's not an entrepreneur. He runs games on Facebook. He has no education. Danny Knowles, another one, constantly begging from doctors of chiropractic on his mile-high nonsense. Sean Andrew, another one, constantly begging for money. Has always on Facebook. If you have a successful practice and you're seeing patients, how do you have time to just constantly be on Facebook, just running these scams? I'll show you how you can be successful. Don't worry about that. Just here, come talk to me. Come talk to me in private. Don't talk to me in public. I can't tell you what I do in public because what I have for you is just for you. No, that's what they're always doing. Sean Andrews, he lied to me repeatedly. That was his first introduction to me. Danny Knowles, his name is a lie. He actually told me that he doesn't know his wife. He said he has no affiliation whatsoever with the IFCO, which so far, let's say Dill, Schubel, and Knowles are all on the IFCO, which is another scam. But Danny Knowles says it's his wife that's on the IFCO. So he's saying, I don't have any relationship. I have no affiliation with anybody in the IFCO. It's like, Danny, your wife is on the board for the IFCO. You're saying that you don't have any affiliation with your wife? I mean, it's just the level of nonsense and bullshit. A lot of these people I've never heard of. More Guru, Ryan Bones, Guru bullshit. Stu Hoffman, at times I like Stu Hoffman. Jim Chester, he's a runner. This person is an illegal runner for chiropractors. He promotes it on Facebook and he promotes it all over the web. And basically, his business model is essentially illegal. But he has no liability. Only the doctor that hires him has liability. So if you want to be put in a situation where you have liability of illegal action, then you want to hire this Jim Chester knucklehead. Video, how to produce video. No education in how to produce video. He's not an expert in producing videos. So if you want to go pay somebody that has no idea about anything, yeah, go ahead. Sign up for them. Dan Golden, he talks about how this is how these people get on there and they say, I don't make any money from Chiro Sushi. But yet here they are. Sign up for Chiro Samurai on Chiro Sushi, which costs money apparently, and that's where all these losers are signed up, and they're on the same exact list on all these on their Chiro, what is this? Chiro Samurai nonsense. These are the Chiro Samurai masters. So obviously they're participating in a profit-making scheme. But if you call them out as targeting chiropractors for their profit-making scheme, they just point out, no, I don't make any money. Chiro Sushi is free. There's no profit made from Chiro Sushi. Bitch, you use Chiro Sushi to promote your Chiro Samurai. They've got Diamond Club, which is another version of the same crap. They got some Diamond Club thing where you got Schubel and Dill and Schwab and these other losers, and you could pay them money for that crap. Or you can pay them money for this crap. Or you can buy their book and their other crap. They're constantly selling crap. And I'm on this page. We did the math for you. Oh, this is somebody who kept telling me that it's a value because I can't determine how much it actually costs. I'm trying to figure out what they're doing here. But still, we did the math for you. This nonsense, their crap, they say is $3,781 in value per year. In value. So you're buying value. Everyone kept saying, well, you look at the tremendous value you get. You're buying value. What value? You get exclusive samurai content, PDFs and ebooks to inspire and take actionable steps. Bullshit. You can buy some bullshit on some PDF. We don't even pay for paper and ink. It's a digital crap that we spewed onto a PDF file. We'll email that to you, and that apparently is value. You get the daily workshops, the genius bar of chiropractic. Please, these people are not geniuses. Liam Schubel hasn't practiced in years. All he does is run a scam. It's all he's ever done is run a scam. Sean Dill apparently doesn't practice, doesn't even call himself a chiropractor. It's just, none of these people do anything. I mean, either I don't know them, because I don't know a lot of these people, but I know a fair amount of the big players, and they're all complete bullshit. The fact that they're offering $3,000 in value rather than saying what they actually do is bullshit. Free books, free passes to the... So for this money, you can get a free pass to the Chiro Sushi event, which is their summit, which is, not, I'm assuming, is just like Chiro Sushi. It's just a bunch of con artists trying to steal from you. So $300, is that the only thing of actual value? Free passes, free books, money back guarantee. So the only thing of actual value that is on their list of benefits are tickets to their event. And I've gone through the entire page here. I don't see how much it actually costs. All the way up at the top, all the way down to the bottom. Nothing. Some bullshit endorsement from September. No funny photo editing, no memes. Bullshit, that's basically what they do. So, I mean, it's just lies. Relentless in the number of files uploaded to Facebook and Facebook Lives conducted. Right, he does Facebook Lives because he has nothing of actual value to offer. So then he exploits people that actually have something to offer and distributes their content on his group. So he's promoting himself and his groups, but other people's content. It's a scam. And still, right on here, you have no idea how much it actually costs. And all you know is that you're buying thousands of dollars in value, which apparently that value is nothing more than free passes to their event, which are lined with vendors that steal from you. You constantly have to sign up for these programs. It's just all bullshit. But instead of, so don't support these groups, these sushi groups, these ChiroFest groups. All you're doing is taking money away from the actual chiropractic institutions that will work to serve the profession or to serve doctors of chiropractic, such as the state association in both California and Washington and Oregon, because all of them are directly negatively impacted by these specific events. But there's a number of events, and a lot of them are complete bullshit. If they're particularly inexpensive, you get what you pay for. If you're not paying a particular lot of money for something, if it's very, very cheap, it's very inexpensive, that's because it's complete crap. And you get what you pay for. They're likely just trying to get you in the door to try and sell you more crap, which is exactly what Paul Reed does. Paul Reed, he has demonstrated to me through the convention last year that he really has no respect for the law at all. He seems to be clearly exploiting the Washington State Chiropractic Association. He seems to be intentionally undercutting them and intentionally doing everything he can to rob the association of as much revenue as possible. But then he'll turn right around and blame me for not being a member of the state association, which has no benefits to being a member of. Even if you are a member of the state association, you do not get to attend the convention for free. You still have to pay the same $395. Maybe you get a small discount if you're a member. But from what I just saw, it appeared to be $395 on their website to attend the convention. That's it. There's aside from a discount on some services, there's no benefit to being a member of the state association. But if the state association had resources and they actually could provide benefits, then there may be some tangible reason for me to become a member and get involved. It's much better for me to be a member of the California State Association, even though I practice in Washington. Because in California, as a member of the state association, which the costs are relatively similar, I get all of my continuing education for free as part of my membership. Other associations may include banking services. Other associations can include other services or other benefits to membership that are a tangible reason for the doctor of chiropractic to participate, to support them financially, and to be involved. There is no such thing with the Washington State Chiropractic Association. But Paul Reed so he's obviously, to me, it seems to be pretty obvious that he's intentionally causing harm to the association that he claims to be a member of, or he is a member of, but if you're a member strictly for purposes of exploiting the association, you're not a contributing member. So last year he's holding the event. Right on the way to the event or the day before the event, he had offered at the most significant discount that I had seen. I was offered a 20% discount, so I had gotten the tickets, I think, in the area of $260 or $270. But then immediately following the event, after we had already bought tickets, I was meeting a couple of friends there. We were getting together. We were going to have a good time at the event. And as soon as we get there, or before we get there, on our way there, we all get emails, because they constantly spam you with emails about bring a friend, they can come half off. All tickets sold between now and the event are half off. So that it was the cheapest. I had gotten 20% off and paid a certain price, but now it was half off, and it was down, I believe, to the $175 or even less. But I think it was around $175 to attend the event, which is where the price is right now. So that was a bit of a, well, I guess I should have waited until the last minute to buy my ticket instead of planning ahead. I would have saved almost $100. So we get there, and it's the first night. Now, driving to the event and actually getting to the Chiro Fest event, since most of us were in the state, especially me coming from the north and another friend coming from the east, we're on different highways, but both highways were surrounded by forest fires. My highway was open, and I could literally just drive straight through. But off to the left, you could see the glowing blaze of a forest fire that was so intense that there was lightning. And then we finally get there, and then my friend was telling me it took him a long time to get there because the highway was actually closed. The forest fire had jumped the highway. And now I'm not exactly sure what happened where, but this highway is along a river. So I don't know if that means that the flames actually jumped across the river and the highway and then caught over here because across the border and started a fire, because that highway was closed. It was melted. There was fire trucks on it. There was staging from it, but there was also damage from forest fire. So you had to go around the forest fire in order to get to the event. And this was in relatively close proximity to the event. So at the end of the first night, I'm sitting there, we're watching the news at a friend's house, local news, and they're covering this massive wildfire that was started because it was so dry out. It was towards the end of a very long dry season, record dry season, and we're in a rainforest, so that we're just covered in tinder. We become extremely flammable if they're with a prolonged dry season. And somebody had set off a bottle rocket, and apparently this bottle rocket let off enough sparks in order to ignite this massive wildfire. But everybody in the entire region is on a burn ban. There's nowhere where you're allowed to have anything other than a very small recreational fire that is contained and safe so that you don't start one of these massive forest fires. The smallest of fires gets started where I live, and my entire community and tens of thousands of people and homes are going to go up in flames because we are so much smaller than the trees. The trees you cannot see the community from space. All you can see are the trees. We are underneath a canopy. If the trees catch on fire and the canopy catches on fire, the fire is going to go right over the top of everything. It'll destroy everything very, very quickly. It's a real problem. And that's how these forest fires spread so quickly in this region and up here in this part of the country. So what does Paul Reed, in his respect for laws, do? Has a bonfire in his backyard while there are people fighting the forest fire in relatively close proximity to him during a burn ban on which the news, literally at the same time watching the news, telling people about the burn ban and how they cannot burn things and how it's very dangerous right now since how dry it's been to do anything, to burn anything. And what's Paul Reed doing? He's having a party and showing off how great he is and having a bonfire in his backyard, completely ignorant and unaware of his surroundings and his community and what he's doing and the laws that he's breaking, just like he's doing with the Washington State Association. So this is the first live cast of the Chiro Union podcast. We'll get more involved in trying to have these a bit more often, but this will now be edited and then included with the podcast that will be coming out relatively soon. Unfortunately, again, it has to do with gurus, con artists, scams. They're just so prevalent and they cause so much harm to our profession, and it's so important that we bring an end to it because we need healthy organizations and institutions. We need healthy state associations, and when scams and con artists like Paul Reed and the schmucks over at Chiro Sushi do their nonsense, It does nothing to benefit the profession. All you do is build a massive fortune for Paul Reed. All you do is allow that shit-stained slob, Tristan Schwab, whatever his name is, to steal from our profession. He is not a purveyor of chiropractic. He is not a chiropractor. He doesn't know anything about practicing chiropractic. I know he loves to get up and say, oh, my daddy's a chiropractor. Bitch, my dad is a soldier. My sister's a soldier. My uncle is a Navy man. My brother is a Marine. My family history in the military, generation by generation, goes all the way back to the American Revolution and a soldier that fought under General James Morris in New Jersey. My great-grandfather times 7, meaning great-great-great-great-great-great-grandfather, his name is on the Liberty Bell. That's how long my family's been in this country, has been involved with the military. We fought in the Revolution, for God's sakes. I didn't, and my dad's in the military, my sister's in the military, my uncle's in the military, my brother's in the Navy. They're all in the military. My brother's actually, Bubba, what up, brother? He is a Marine, Semper Fi. But my sister was in the Army, or National Guard. We've got a rich family history of involvement in the military and military service. And I know as much about being in the military as you know about practicing chiropractic, which is not a goddamn thing. Nothing. That's what you know about practicing chiropractic. That's why he'll get on there and he'll threaten my license. He'll threaten my office. They'll threaten making reviews. And they want to they'll get up there and they'll do everything they can to disparage me. But none of it's true. They don't have any respect for the truth, because there's nothing like a chiropractor has to be honest. You can't go out just saying whatever you want to say. You're held to a certain ethical and moral standard, and you need to be honest all of the time. Honesty is one of them. Nothing is he has no education. He apparently has no moral or ethical standard. He has no license or regulation. So if he lies and does clickbait, which he's famous for doing clickbait, they're famous for doing spam, they're famous for just spewing lies constantly, there's no repercussion for it. They can lie and say whatever, do whatever they want. Nobody can hold them accountable. They have no licensure. When I talk to marketing experts have degrees. Marketing experts don't target specific industries such as chiropractic. A true marketing expert can market Coca-Cola, can market Pepsi, can market restaurants, can market chiropractors, dentists, right? They don't hyper-focus in on a particular audience. That's bad marketing. You want to broaden as audience as possible in order to do your marketing. So these brilliant marketing geniuses violate some of the first laws of basic marketing in order to hyper-target a very small and specific group, because they're not marketing experts. They're not chiropractic experts. They're scams and they're gurus. And they're looking for a very particular individual in which to exploit. And that's exactly what they do. They exploit doctors of chiropractic for their own personal gain. Support your state associations. Attend true, meaningful, real continuing education programs that will support our colleges, universities, and state associations. That will give them the ability to fight for doctors of chiropractic. Because you certainly aren't going to see this shit-stained slob out there fighting for doctors of chiropractic. All he's ever doing is begging of doctors of chiropractic, continuing to feed on doctors of chiropractic, exploiting doctors of chiropractic. He's not providing any services to doctors of chiropractic that are not exploiting the doctors of chiropractic and harming our profession, harming our state associations. I went to that convention in California a number of years in a row, and then it suddenly started to drop off. Well, why is that? The number of vendors had dropped off. The number of attendees had dropped off. It was because the shit-stained slob and their scam bullshit had undercut the vendors, and they undercut the cost of the convention. And then they held it at a very similar time. So if I'm looking to go to an event, I'm going to do a cost comparison, and I allow cost to be the driving factor that's going to make my decision, the free bullshit scam is obviously going to be much more cost effective than the one that actually you have to pay for to attend, and the one you actually have to attend. I don't know what their attendance policy is at Chiro Sushi. I have a feeling that the lazy slob doesn't care if anybody goes to half the classes that they need in order to get continuing education. The only thing that lazy slob cares about is collecting credit card numbers. And they'll go all day, they'll say, well, you don't profit from this at all. But yet you get right on the website, the first thing they do is have a video of that Ryan Bones. Just yesterday, Ryan Bones was trying to tell me that he doesn't profit in any way, and he's never begging for money. You get on the website for the Chiro Sushi event, first thing is a video, Ryan Bones, sitting there begging for money to get on their, I even forget the name of that particular scam. They got so many scams. They got the Black Diamond scam. They've got the, I think his was Chiro Samurai. I think the name of his particular scam was Chiro Samurai. But they've all got scams. It's just scam after scam after scam. If it's not a college, if it's not a university, if it's not approved by the state association, then don't fart around with it.